hairspray, water bottle, hairbrush, tooth comb, bobby pins, clear hair ties, and coloured hair ties. So starting off with Maddie's hair, or as you can see it's already straight, so we don't need to straighten it again, but if you have a kid that has really curly hair or slightly curly hair, probably start and straighten it out first, and then we'll do the braid, because depending on what dance they're in, they might have to wear it out. So if it's all straight, it's easier, but then we can always straighten the ponytail a little bit more at the end. So to start off, we do a part over the left eye, like halfway down the eyebrow, and so with the, I find these combs to be the best ones with the tail at the end. So part over the left eye, take it straight back as far as you can, and brush it over to the right hand side. You got it? So check it's nice and straight, awesome. So then after you've done the part on the left side, measure about from the hairline, probably about 10 centimetres or halfway along the head back, and then you're going to do a part from the left, from the part that's on the left hand side over the eye, all the way across, down and behind the ear. So in line with the ear. So then I've got that part there, that's what I'm going to braid. It could probably come back a tiny bit more, but just so it's just behind the ear. Like that. And then all you're going to do is grab your hair tie and grab this part out of the way, because you don't need this while you're braiding. So just pop this out of the way so it doesn't get in the way for while you're braiding. So now we're going to start off with the braid, and as you can see, Maddie has naturally curly hair, so she has a lot of flyaways. But you don't need to worry about that at this stage, because we can control those later with hairspray. But I'm going to start with the braid, and you can always look up more detailed tutorials on YouTube and stuff, but this is basically how you do. So you section off a small piece of the hair, like this. Hold it with 2 hands, please. And then you're going to put 2 fingers in, just like you would starting off a plait. Then from there you take the back part over, bring it towards the front, and you've got it holding it in your hands. Now everyone holds it in their hands a bit differently, this is how I do mine. And the smaller the section, the nicer the braid looks. So it shouldn't take too long once you get the hang of it, but you bring it over as such, and you take it from the front section, like so. And try and make sure, if you want, you could use a comb to kind of brush out if the hair's really curly, but it should already be straight, so it shouldn't be too messy. As you can see, that's quite neat like that. So then from there you just keep bringing it back through like this. And you want it not too close to the front of the face, but don't do it right towards the back, because else you sort of lose the effect of the braid. So keeping it nice and tight. Even if the kids are whinging, keep going, persevere. As you go through with the braid, it will loosen up a little bit, so it's better to start off too tight, and you can always loosen it off with a comb later. So as you can see, the braid's coming now over to the side. As you start to come down around the ears, you want to get it really nice and tight, because else when the braid's not in the ponytail, it'll sag around the edges. So just try and keep it as nice and tight as you can as you come through here. So now I'm going to plait it all the way down to the bottom of the hair. Keep it still nice and tight, trying to brush out any knots as you go. Obviously, probably spend a bit more time if this was for the actual show, but this is just so everybody sees what we're trying to do. Just pulling, pulling, pulling all the way down to the bottom as far as you can go. If the kids have really layered hair, it might start to get a bit fuzzy like that, hanging out. So try and keep plaiting, and then you just have to secure it a bit. You'll have to secure it a bit closer. Then you're going to grab a clear little stretchy one. These are the best to secure at the bottom of a plait. So then sort of find the, well, we'll go a bit lower, about here. If you can plait to the bottom, do, but with Maddie's hair, we'll just keep it up around here. And tight, 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 round, around, around. So we need to make sure this is really clear because it will hang out of the plait. When you do the ponytail, that's a bit different, but this is well for the students who are wearing their hair out with the braid. It needs to be clear, so it's all the same. So now the braid's done. As you can see, what I was talking about here, this little part, see, it sort of hangs, it's a little bit loose because as I was coming around the side, it sort of got a bit tricky. So what you can do, grab a bobby pin, and all you need to do is sort of open it up, and you're going to pin it up into the braid. Try and keep it hidden. And as you can see, I used a brown bobby pin because Maddie's hair is brown. So obviously if you have a child with black hair, using black bobby pins, brown hair using brown bobby pins, blonde hair using blonde pins. And I think you can even get red bobby pins as well. So I think we just get them from Priceline. I bought mine from Coles as well. So now with the hairspray, try and use a strong hold one. The ones that you use for styling don't really do anything. So this was a 4 out of 5. The 5 is a bit of a lacquer. So I find this one good because you can still kind of move. But sort of just do a light spray, brushing the sort of the fluffy bits back, and you can use the end of your tooth comb to brush any fluffy sort of into the braid as well. But, you know, once we've done the ponytail as well, you can do like sort of a bit more of an overall hairspray. Pretty much the more hairspray you use, the more likely you don't have to do it the next day again. So now we're going back to the ponytail part. So as you can see, hair's nice and straight. All nice and brushed and ready to go. So what I use the brush to brush it up into a ponytail, and then the tooth comb to smooth out any bumps and lumps because you really need it nice and neat. It's not just a messy ponytail. Also another tip could be if you buy a knit comb, they have a really, really fine distance between them, and that can make it really neat as well. Normally I use the smaller hair ties because I like that I can get it around a lot more, but you're more than welcome to use thick ones, but I always double band in case one breaks. So again, using the same colour as the hair as close as you can is really good. All clear, but not those thin ones because they'll just snap. So now with the pony, I'm going to bring it up as nice and high. Again, it's pretty messy to start off with. Then use your fingers or your hairbrush, whatever you find easiest, to pull it back sort of roughly where you want to have it. And then from there, start to comb it back into the hand. Now, if your child has very fine hair, you might need to do a bit of hairspray beforehand, but Maddie has lovely thick hair, so we don't need to hairspray as much before. So see how I'm really watch when you're doing it underneath, because I find you always get the lumps underneath. So you're trying to make it nice and smooth. So if there's big lumps, you can sort of pull it back and grab the lump and use the bobby pin and push it in towards the ponytail, and that kind of brings in any lumps that you don't want. Okay. Sorry, combing them into the hair, not with a brush. It's probably a bit rough with the brush. So again, keep it nice, lots of hairspray. Like that, and then let it dry because the hair will sort of stick to it. Now, just again, you're going to put another hair tie in. So again, you can use thick, thin, clear, or the same colour as the child's hair, but make sure it's really nice and tight. You don't want to give the kid a headache, but you know, it needs to be tight else it's going to fall out. So just ask them to shake their head around and then whatever they feel comfortable with. And then again, I'm just going to brush this out, keep the ponytail nice and straight as I can. Now, with this braid, it's going to come down and back under here. Now, depending on the length of the child's hair, you might need to pin it if it doesn't make it to the ponytail. With Maddie here, I can wrap it around like this and pin it around the ponytail, and I can also use another hair tie. So what I'm going to do, so I can see it, I'm going to make sure it's on top of the hair, and always go underneath first. So I'm just going to put a few bobby pins in, starting underneath, pinning it into the ponytail like so. And you don't want too many of these little bits sticking out. So if you can pin them in while you're going, so you don't have like a tail, that's good too. Now, if you get the child while you're doing it to ask if you've poked them in the head, because it can give them a headache. So if they're poking them in the head, just try and move it, just jiggle a little bit, and then keep pushing through, because it can make them a bit sore in the head. So to secure it for the final time, I'm just going to wrap another hair tie around it, so it's sort of capturing the braid down the bottom. Now, with Maddie's layers, it can look a little bit messy sticking up at places, so we'll just use the hairspray at the end to make it nice and neat around the ponytail. So from stage, you won't be able to see obviously that tiny little tuft hanging out. So as long as it's nice and neat, it's not going to fall out. Hairspraying all the flyaways into where the braid is, so it's not going against the hairline. Brushing it up, checking out the front. So now we're going on to the bun for ballet students. So exactly the same as it would be for jazz, but now we're going to put the ponytail into a plait, so divide it into 3. So again, I've got the clear elastic, and I'm securing it at the bottom as close to the bottom as you can with the bun, because then you just get less of this hanging out at the end. Now, for the next part, I find that when you pin as you go for the plait, it makes it a stronger bun and less likely to fall out. So I've got my plait already, and now depending on how you plaiten the child's hair, it might be easier to go this way or to go this way, and as you can see with Maddie's hair, it's easier to go this way. So as I'm pulling it up, I'm just going to pin as I go. So this is a bun. Now this is a quite large one, so you can get smaller ones which are good as well, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's the same colour as the hair, so you don't want to really be able to see the bun net. So if you come forward, when you're putting the bun net, you can start, it doesn't matter where, and you put it over, and then you keep wrapping as many times as you can get it around without overdoing it. So this one goes around 3 times nicely. And as you can see, if you look down over here, that hides away all those little fluffy bits that were sticking out before. Now the same thing this, you would just secure this with more bobby pins. So going around, pinning it more, all the way around. Pin, 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 pin. Maddie will shake her head. Is Felix going to fall out? No. And then again, I'd get the hairspray, spray the bun as well. And that's how you do the ballet bun.